Hi guys, and welcome back to Maltbox, the non-chill filtered whiskey blog. I'm Andy and this is another whiskey review and we're up to 129. Now what I have for you is a single malt Scotch whiskey. It is a Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. Don't let the t-shirt fool you, it's not a Deanston. It's a Glencadam, specifically the 10-year-old Glencadam, and there it is. Quite what you describe as an unassuming distillery and an unassuming bottle, I guess. You know, for me, this isn't quite as cutting edge as a lot of brands that are out on the market now. You know, a lot of distilleries have had revamps recently, some better than others, but Glencadam have had this livery for quite a while. That's not to say that is a bad thing. Now, this is a 10-year-old single malt, so the youngest whiskey that goes into this little whiskey is 10 years old. Oh, hello. It is 46%. It is non-chill filtered and it is natural colour. So already it ticks a lot of boxes. A lot of boxes. And we know that because it actually says on the bottom of the label, which hopefully I will position correctly for you to read yourself. But if not, you'll just have to take my word for it. Basically, tough. So, Glencadam, Highland distillery, quite overlooked. I've not tried many Glencadams before, to be honest with you. I've had the 21, I bought the 21 for the Whisky Club when I used to run that. It was very, very nice. That's pretty much it, come to think of it. And this. So, I wanted to review this because I mean, as well as independent bottlers, which I'm going to be looking at in the next review, just a bit of an overview, I want to try and feature some more under-the-radar distilleries. I certainly think that Glencadam fits the bill. It's not the kind of malt you'll see on a supermarket shelf, so a lot of new drinkers aren't going to be introduced to it straight away. I'll be honest, it's between £35 and £40 as an official RRP, so it's also not the cheapest whiskey on the market, let alone the cheapest 10-year-old. There's, you know, some cheap ones out there, some very quite widely available cheaper alternatives. However, again, 46%, non-chill filtered and no added colouring. What more do you want? Speaking of colour, there it is in the bottle. Sort of light gold, I guess. I mean, all whiskey is some form of gold or various shades of bodily fluids. So I mean, here we go, a nice light gold there. Already a bit of a swirl on there in true trademark style. Some slow legs initially, you know, I mean, it's clearly going to be an oily spirit because the tears haven't even formed on the inside of the glass yet, which is always a good sign. Let's see what we've got on the nose. Oh, it's lovely. Initially, we've got some lemon rind on there, lemon zest, this lovely soft vanilla, some green fruit, possibly pears, to be honest with you, rather than apple. It's a bit softer, I'd say, than an apple. Well, going back in, there is a little bit of tart note as well. Nice creaminess to it, nice bit of spice. Kind of a cheesecakey biscuit base sort of note as well. Really nice nose. It's not musty for me. It doesn't, for me, have that warehouse funk that you can sometimes get with drams, but everyone's different. On the palate, oh, that's lovely again. Honey, loads of honey, golden syrup. Again, got that sort of like vanilla-y note in there. We've got a bit of ginger. We've got that spice, I think sort of cinnamon, something a little bit hot. A little bit of black pepper going into the finish there. Mouthfeel is bang on, really nice and oily, which I love. I'm going to go back in again. It's also quite fresh, but it's got enough behind it to be interesting, very engaging, really engaging in fact. And I'm not going to say that this is the most complex malt that I've ever had, but it's just really charming. I think is probably the best way to describe it. It's a charming malt, very unassuming. I mean, it refers to itself as the rather delicate Highland single malt. I mean, Tom and Tool, known as the gentle dram, this for me packs a much bigger punch than Tom and Tool. I wouldn't say it's delicate. I would say, you know, it's robust in its own right. Got a lot of good flavours going on. Finish, nice and warming. Again, a little bit sweet. I mean, I'd already touched on the honey and the golden syrup on the palate. A little bit of spice in there carrying through, a little bit warm, still going. Decent length, as you can tell, because I'm still talking. Overall, I don't regret picking this up. I mean, I got this, I think it was about 35 quid from the Aberdeen Whisky shop. And yeah, I'm really glad I did. I'd never tried the 10 before. I'd never tried the 10. And I thought, you know, I was browsing through and I actually heard a couple of people talk about it as well. And I thought, you know what, I'll give Glencadam another go. I'm really glad I did. This is the kind of dram that you could easily drink quite happily in spring, summer, autumn or winter. I know we tend to sort of like, when it gets a bit dark like it is now and a little bit cold and with the fires in, we tend to go for sherry drams, don't we, or peaty drams, something heavy, something comforting. This to me is incredibly comforting, but in a nice, light, sprightly way. So basically guys, would I buy another one? Yes, and I probably will once I finish this one. Great little drop, really is. Would recommend you try it if you get the chance. So guys, I'm going to box it off now. Cheers, see you soon.